welcome to Guide and Grow TV. I'm Sylvia Arrington and we're going to talk about child development and age-appropriate activities for 12 to 15 months. Investigation box. At this stage, it's all about investigation. Your toddler is investigating the world around them from a whole new perspective, starting to pull up on things, potentially walking independently, and starting to carry things as they walk. So all of their movements are becoming a lot more complex and also more intricate and detailed. So let's have a look at some of the things that they'll be doing at this stage. Some people would like to add a learning tower into their kitchen. This is just a two-step stool which has a little barrier at the top so they can climb up and be up there where all the action is. Stirring things, watching you cook, getting them something, some bowls, some transferring activities. They'll absolutely love that. Over here on my right, we also have what's called a weaning table and chair. Now this is a great little setup here where your child can sit at to have their breakfast, their snacks, some of their meals, so they can see what it's like to actually sit at a table. You'll also see on there a spoon and a cup. Now we do encourage you to try and use some real glass or porcelain as you introduce these things to your toddler. Now, of course, if you do feel that safety is a concern, there are alternatives such as stainless steel, but we always encourage supervision and to make sure that you're always there to present it, to carry it with two hands and just give them that opportunity to learn. Now, your toddler might not sit all the time. They might just want to stand at the table, they might sit down and get up and sit down and get up, and that's all okay. Remember, they're just exploring and learning. So these things do take time, but it's a great idea to get them started to be independent so they've got a great foundation to start with. In terms of the activities, let's have a look at what's on our shelf. So we have things like this, which is a vertical dowel. Okay, this one and this one over here. So with this one here, it's a non-permanent, meaning that the rings can come off the dowel, whereas this one here is a permanent dowel. So the ring comes up and stops. Now, the first time that you're presenting this kind of an activity to your child, it's important to face it towards them so that it's directly in their line of sight. And then they'll go from pulling it up and then putting it back down again. Now, the reason why we do that is if we actually turn it this way, it's called midline crossing, when they go from one side and they cross over to the other line of sight. So it is actually easier for them to do the activity this way first, and then you can turn it on your shelf to be like this one here. Now, this one's a little bit more complicated because it has the wave in it. Then we have these dowels here, the vertical ones. So these are all the in and on. Now, as you saw in our last video, we used the really large rings. That was a lot easier. Now it's a little bit more complicated because the hole is smaller and it takes a little bit more concentration and hand-eye coordination to put them on. Now again, these can be presented as is, or you could remove them and put them in a small basket next to the activity. On the second shelf here, we have some puzzles. Again, a little individual puzzle. The circle is smaller again. The pincer grip, they're practicing that hand-eye coordination and grip. And then you can move on to the multi-shape puzzles. So as you can see, there's two different types. The first one here has different size circles, and then this one has different shapes. So again, they might just take them all out and not put them back in immediately, but they'll figure out how to do that. We also have the shape box again. Now this time in our box, we have a little bit more of a complex shape because this is a rectangle. So not every side or shape is going to fit into the hole. So if we put it this way, it's not going to fit. Now this is the great thing about Montessori materials is that they all have self-corrective mechanisms, meaning if a toddler puts it in like this, it's not going to go anywhere. So again, they'll figure out how to put it on its side, put it in, and then open the door and pull it back out again. And we have something like this as well, which is a puzzle in itself. So the little person can be carried around, also popped back into its little little shell and casing. And here, last but not least, we have two types of object permanence boxes with drawers. So as we saw in our last video, we had the object permanent box that was open, the ball was dropped in and it rolled out and you could see it. Now these ones are a little bit more complicated. They're a step up from those. So as you can see, they both have drawers and the ball will be there. So as you close the drawer, the ball gets rolled in and it pops out from there. Now with this one, if you put the ball behind it in the hole without closing the drawer, again, it's not going to close. This is a self-corrective mechanism. So the toddler will then learn to pull out the drawer and then pop it back in. So again, this teaches them that objects still do exist even though they can't see them. We also encourage lots of books, songs, dancing and movement at this age. Outdoor play, all of those things they'll absolutely love. So I hope that's helped you, and stay with us. We're going to move on to 15 to 18 months next.